How is it going then, everybody? I hope you're all doing very well. Welcome back to another video here on our channel. I'm the FIFA Analyst, and today we have got a new series which are going to be starting for you, which kind of takes us back to the fundamental of what we provided here on our channel. We are going to be starting a new series which takes place over on our Twitch channel, which is going to be called Summer Training Camp. The whole point of this is to kind of get the fundamentals. I'll say fundamentals twice. I'll say it 3 times, 4 times, however much I like. To get the fundamentals right for FIFA 21. A lot of the stuff that you will find throughout this series can carry over into FIFA 21. Things that you just, doesn't change too much on the game. Obviously, the shooting mechanic this year is near post. That will probably change next year. But we're going to go and take a look today at right stick switching. I have done an in-depth video on right stick switching before, but this time round we're going to be providing you with a controller cam, which means that you can see what I'm pressing, how I'm pressing it, why I'm pressing it, and actually walking you through it. As it is streamed over on Twitch, we are interacting with the chat, answering questions. They're asking me, can you explain how this works? Can you do that? And all of that sort of stuff. If you do enjoy the video, please let me know by giving it a big thumbs up, and you can subscribe to the channel. Also, guys, I have started a second channel recently. If you do want to head over there, see kind of behind the scenes more stuff, get to know me a little bit differently, you can click the link in the description, which will take you over to my second channel called Analyst Extra. Let's go ahead and jump into this though, and hopefully teach you guys how to right stick switch even better, and then in turn get more results in Weekend League and feel confident going into FIFA 21. Now, one thing to take note is that I do have it on ball player relative, which is the default setting. Some of you guys may have it on what do we call it, on ball relative. I have it on player relative. Now, there's two ways to look at this. I know some people are adamant that ball relative is better than player relative. If I'm honest with you, I prefer player relative because it's what the default setting is on FIFA, and it's been the default setting now for many, many years, okay? So when you load into FIFA over the years that you've been playing, that's always what you've played with. If you change to ball relative, how does it actually work? Player relative is whoever you're currently controlling. If you flick the right analog stick, the player is the center point of the switch. So say if you're with your center attacking mid in the middle of the park, you're controlling him and you want to switch to your left back, you'll be flicking it up towards 10 o'clock because he's the center point. Now let's say if it was ball relative and you were controlling your center attacking mid in the park, but the ball was on the top side out towards your left mid, your switch would be left 9 o'clock. So it's a bit different. It's a little bit, you have to think about it more, in my opinion. But apparently people say it seems to be better in delayed gameplay. I've tried ball relative. Because it's not what I'm used to, I stick with player relative. Now, I'll jump on to when to use LB and when to use the right stick in a minute. But what I want us to get down first of all, because the thing is with right stick switching, right, is that for you to do it effectively, it's when you're pressing. It's how you want to press. So when the ball's in the opposition half, it's doing that. In and around defence here, you've just got to remember that going between these two guys, it's a straight down between them to the right back, and then to the centre back, up is back up, and then over to the left back is up. And because they're all in that middle defensive line, it's always up or down. It's as simple as that. But then, if you go, let me just get the ball out so we can show you. So let me go from striker, midfielders, defense. So I'm going to press with Bobby Firmino. Ball comes into the middle, right stick switch. LB switch into De Jong to cover that pass in there. Why did I do that? De Jong was the next closest man to the ball. I want to cover that passing lane, which I think was his next pass. I used the LB button to switch there. Okay. Now, I want to put press on. I'm going to use the 12 o'clock switch. 5 o'clock to go back to there. 12 o'clock up to Dembele. 12 o'clock again out to Fernandez. 6 o'clock back down into there. And now in the middle, again, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, I'm kind of doing it. I'm going to go 4 o'clock here to back to Mendy. LB switch back to the Vinicius. 12 o'clock. LB to De Jong. LB to Dembele. Dembele is going to put the press on. LB here to go back. Make sure it's accurate. It's the closest man to the ball. I'm going to use the right stick switch there to the centre back. LB back to De Jong. Right stick switch to Wijnaldum. LB switch to Dembele to put that press on through the middle. LB to De Jong. Now I'm holding R2 and L2. Now I'm just holding L2. LB back to Dembele to try and put the pressure on. Just stand up with De Jong. He's not a threat here. No need to try and I'm going to use that to move across. Just stand up. Using a little bit of RB here, which is second man press. Going to move across, try and cover that passing lane. Right stick switch to Longley, LB switch. So you see how there, I wanted to go back to Wijnaldum, but it ended up going to Lala. So that was a mistake. I know, though, if I press the LB button again, the next closest man to the ball was the Wijnaldum. It will change to the Wijnaldum, nice and simple. That's what you've just got to remember, that when you make a mistake, think about it logically of, well, if I press the LB button again, is it going to go to the player that I want? No? Okay, then I need to use the right stick switch. An example of that might be, you know, you wanted to change to a guy that was not the next closest to the ball. That's when you have to use that right stick switch. All right, let me just try and see if I can show you maybe an example of the opponent with the right stick switching. So here, he should switch into Neymar to put that press on with Neymar. He switched to the Bobby Firmino, who was covering, you know, the passing lane, but I wasn't going to look for that. Here, he should be on Neymar. He should flick down to Dembele. That's it. And then he's covered that pass. He's put the press on. Well done. Now he should switch up into the guys in the middle, like he has done. And we're going to try and cut that pass through the middle, which we have. He uses the LB switch there to go back to Bobby Firmino. We're going to switch pass into the middle. De Jong makes his way through. Fake shot stop. He didn't want to do the La Croqueta. But here, as a defender, you're just going to hold the L2 button to jockey, and you're going to use the LB to player switch. You're not going to use the right stick switching around that sort of area. It's too tight. All right, so now I'm going to use RB while I'm pressing, trying to get the ball back. Now I'm just going to cover with Wijnaldum, holding that L2 button. I'm holding L2 permanently, but I'm coming on and off the R2 button, which is the sprint button. Pull Wijnaldum back in. LB switch into Dembele. Now I need to use the right stick switch with De Jong to cover these passes in the middle. Using a bit of RB. Right stick switch, cover. Switch, right stick switch to go and put the pressure on with Wijnaldum. Right stick switch back into De Jong. And then win the ball back with Dembele. So I'm constantly switching between De Jong, Wijnaldum, and Dembele. The reason for that is Dembele is going to be the one responsible for pressing for me. As I just stand up with Kimpembe. LB switch back to Longley. Again, the LB switch inside the box. I'm constantly switching between Dembele, De Jong and Wijnaldum because De Jong and Wijnaldum are responsible for covering the passing lanes into the striker. If I ever give up the passing lane, that's where he can penetrate. Once I feel like I've covered those passing lanes, I am then going to go and put the pressure on the ball holder with my centre attacking mid, which is Dembele. But here, he's going to switch between Firmino and Pogba, cover those passes. Now he should be switching to the Ribery and putting that pressure on straight away. You see how he didn't switch quick enough then to the Ribery? It meant that I could play that pass down the line into my right attacking mid. I'm using the right stick switch to Dembele. I'm switching to my left attacking mid by flicking it down with the right stick. Got the pressure on. I'm holding sprint there. And then as I get closer to the opponent, I'm holding the jockey button. What that's going to do is going to slow me down slightly and give me a chance of winning the ball back by putting the pressure on him. Right stick switch into Dembele, put the pressure on straight away. Right stick switch to Wijnaldum. I'm not pressing here with Wijnaldum. I'm trying to cover the passing lanes into the striker. Cover the passing lane, so I put the pressure on. LB switch to Kimpembe. Don't pull him out of position, just stand up. So, as you can see there, I waited for him to make a mistake with the Ben Yedder, right? And he tried to do the fake shot. When he did the fake shot, that was time for me to step in with my centre-back. Pass down the line. He should just be holding the L2 button if I got onto the end of it. Luckily enough, he's got better pace than me. LB switch to, again, LB switch to De Jong, covering, putting a bit of pressure on. Right stick switch, which is, that was there, was 4 o'clock. LB switch back to the Vinicius Jr. Right stick switch up, 12 o'clock to Dembele. LB switch to De Jong. Right stick switch to Wijnaldum. LB switch back to Dembele. Covering the passing lanes. LB switch to Dembele, putting the pressure on. LB to cover in the middle here with Wijnaldum. LB again, back to De Jong. LB into Vinicius Jr. LB to De Jong. Keep it simple. Just keep covering those passing lanes, and that's it. So there, I used a lot of LB because he switched it over, and I just needed to go to the guy closer to the ball. It's nice, and, you know, it's not. Don't overcomplicate it. Like, you don't have to use it, the right stick switch, every single time. The LB is still used as long as you know that's the guy closest to the ball. I know that LB will get me where I want it to be. Nice and sorted, simple. Now, right stick switch, 3 o'clock, back to Wijnaldum. Just going to stand up. Right stick switch, tried to go to the Dembele, but messed up. So I pressed the LB button to change back to the Wijnaldum. I made a mistake, but we rectified it very quickly. And then we win that one back. Does that kind of make sense? Let me just kick the ball out. How conscious are you of not breaking your defensive shape when switching choices? Yeah, so when I switch, what a lot of people do is they switch with LB or the right stick, right? And then they're holding this left analog stick in a direction that they're not actually consciously thinking about. You have to remember that when you switch between players, this left analog stick, you can pull your centre back out if you're holding it like that. So make sure that you're thinking about your defensive shape and what you're actually doing with this left stick. And when you think about that, you will be so much better in your defensive shape. Let me just quickly try and show you what I mean by that. So what happens is people will switch between players, and this is common when I coach people, and they switch, let's say, to De Jong here, and they hold the left analog up stick like that, and they start pulling them out. And it's like a knock-on effect into knock-on effect. And so they pull the right attacking mid out. They pull the Dembele over. I need him to come over and show me. But I need him to come over this side. Let me try and give him the ball back here. So what they do is they switch and they end up doing this. Because they've just got their left analog stick facing one way. And they're not constantly thinking about where they're going and what they're doing. What I would like to say is keep that left stick really more so pointing back towards your goal, because you'd rather run backwards like this and then rectify it than go and just pulling miles out. So I'm constantly having my left analog stick at the minute. My goal is this right hand side. My left analog stick will be facing that way more than it will that way or that way or that way. It'll be like that, and then I'll readjust and kind of come and put it in. All right. Bateson, thank you so much for continuing your gifted sub for Magnus, mate. I appreciate that. What's the jockey button? The jockey button is the L2, which is the left trigger button on both consoles. That happens to me on a lot of through balls. My centre-back goes the wrong way and the striker is in. Yeah, so the reason why that's happening, Sparkles, is because when you switch to your centre-back, and let's say the ball's being played this way, right? When you switch to your centre-back should be running that way as well. But instead, you've got your left analog stick pointing up or down or that way. You need to run the way that the ball's being played and then readjust your angle. Does that make sense? Yeah, Pritchard, you're fine, mate. You're fine. So let me try and show... Pritchard, try and look for a through ball scenario so I can show the chat what I'm on about. Because this happens a lot. They switch from here. Like, they push like this. A through ball comes through, right? And then they pull this guy up like that. Go backwards. Literally, have that left analog stick as you switch where you're going. What you need to be thinking about is when you play a switch, wherever you point there, when I switched to my Mendy, I started pointing it up. Here, I'm going back and then I'm putting that pressure on. Just jockeying here, coming through. LB switch to the Lala to put that pressure on. Let's try and see if we can show you some more. I'm just going to commentate now. Let Pritchard, attack as you normally would, mate. Try and get some goals. And let me just try and talk through everything that I'm doing. Right stick switch to the left back. Running back towards my goal. Ball roll. It does a little flick. Let me just give him the ball back.
Too slow, too pedestrian. They need to find another gear if they're going to go on and win this.
Right, let's go. So, opponent's got the ball. You want to press. Right stick switch down to your right attacking mid. Right stick switch now. Don't press. Don't pull the full back out of position. You want to stand up and leave a few distance. Right stick switch into the Wijnaldum. Wijnaldum is running back. Trying to cover that passing lane. Switch to the Lala. Now LB switch back to there because he's gone offside. I messed up a switch there, but we switch back to the Kimpembe. I used LB twice. We're standing up. Holding the L2 button there. A little bit of sprint, but nothing major. I messed up there with one switch. I went to the De Jong and I wanted to go to my centre-back. So I just clicked the LB button again to change to that centre-back. Nice and simple. Right stick switch up to the Wijnaldum. Right stick switch to the Mendy. Put that pressure on. Using that right stick switch and LB there. Right stick switch to the Wijnaldum. Cover the passing lane. Then put the pressure on once that passing lane is covered. That Ben Yedder was covered then. He couldn't play that pass. So that's why I put the pressure on. Same for De Jong. De Jong had covered the pass into Neymar. He had no other options on. Run at him and try and win the ball back, all right? There's no point in just doing this and just standing back and jockeying 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 and jockeying. There's no point. Look how much time he's got on the ball. I'm not doing anything here. I need to go to him a bit. I need to try and get 1 or 2 yards away. I need to cover the passing lanes. And then once I've covered the passing lanes, put that bit of pressure on. Just standing up with L2 there. A little bit lucky. I came a little bit out of goal side, but just about managed to do. Keep the pressure on to cover the passing lane. Once I feel like I've covered this passing lane to the Ben Yedder, like now he's not got anything on. He's trying to do a skill move past me because he realises he's got no skill move on. I keep myself goal side. I hold the L2 button. Because I played the game a lot, I know what skill move he's going to do there because of the way the animation looks. Ball down the line. Fake shot stop. Lay the ball back. Ball roll upwards. Keep holding onto it. Ball roll. Fake shot start. La Croqueta. Fake shot start. Into the Dembele. Nearly. So now LB switch to the Wijnaldum. He's the closest man to the ball. No need to right stick switch. LB again. Trying to put that press on, which we do. Ball roll upwards. Drag back. Good defending. So we keep the pressure on. Right stick switch back to the right back. Keep myself goal side. I don't commit there, right? I don't commit there. I wait for that opponent to make the mistake. Right stick switch between the centre-backs. LB there to track that 1-2. Just standing up, just holding that L2 button. Hold the L2 button there. I keep myself goal side. I don't even press the tackle button and I win the ball back. Nice and simple. Let me just give him the ball back again and we'll go again. So, pressing now with Dembele. LB switch to the Vinicius. Little bit of pressure with De Jong, but not pulling him massively out of position. LB switch to the Dembele. He's the closest man to the ball. Right 6 switch with Wijnaldum. Cover that pass back in the middle. Switching between the two CMs. Constantly trying to cover the passes where possible. Keep covering that pass into the striker. That pass out wide. Cover it with Mendy. Right 6 switch to the centre-back. A little bit of pressure put on. LB switch to the Wijnaldum. Trying to cover the passing lanes and put that bit of pressure on. Stand up here. Just hold the L2 button. Keep yourself goal side. There's no point in going forward past the man. And then he plays that pass into me. Right. I'm going to defend badly here. This is what a goal player, a silver player will do, okay? Let me just try and show you it. So they're going to run at him, and they're going to run at him and pull the Wijnaldum out. And they're going to run at him. They're going to pull the De Jong over. Now he's got a bit of space. He lays the man offside. Just L2, not even sprint. How do you keep up? I come on and off the sprint button. So, outside here, right? When I'm pressing up here, I'm always going to be holding sprint. I won't press with De Jong because that's my centre mid. I'll press with Firmino. I'm not holding L2. I'll hold L2 when I get close to him. Holding R2. Now I hold L2. Put that bit of pressure on. R2 here, trying to cover the passing lane. Now here, I'm going to use sprint. No jockey. Now I'm going to stop sprinting and just hold L2. Now I'm going to right 6 switch up. Using a bit of sprint here. L2, just stand up. So I used the sprint button there to come and rectify the space. You know, he had a little bit of space there. You have to sprint. But then when I get close to him, I want my movements to be fine and very minor. What I don't want happening, if I give him the ball back, I don't want, watch the Vinicius, I don't want these movements being huge. I want them to be very unique and small and like little steps. And that's when I'll use the L2 button and not the sprint button as well. So just trying to cover the passing lane with Wijnaldum. So I've messed up here big time. I couldn't find the Wijnaldum. So I'm just going to hold the L2 button. Right 6 switch. Holding the L2. No sprint there at all. No need to. And then we step in. Right 6 switch. Right 6 switch to the De Jong. Right 6 switch to Wijnaldum. Cover the passing lanes. Cover the passing lanes. Watch that pass back. Now put a bit of pressure on. He's got nothing on. So you see there, he had no pass on. That's when I went and step in. Yes, he was doing some skill moves, but that's when I step in. Kimpembe switch, and then we cover that pass. How did that switch make sense? I'm thinking, where is the opponent's next pass? And that is one of the key things that you have to be doing when you are... Controller's turned off. Take the ball off them before it gets there. That's good defending. That's aggressive defending. You have to be very particular about it. That's the hardest probably thing is learning where they're going to pass the ball here. How can I take the ball off them? Here, I'm trying to think where's his next pass. Pressure on with De Jong straight away. I'm in the ball. All right. So the general rule is to not get your players out of position to move the left stick backwards. Not necessarily because you want to defend aggressive as well. But what I see happen a lot with silver and gold players is they switch to the player, but they're not aware of where they're pushing this analog stick. And it turns out they're pushing it towards the opponent. And they drag him out of position. They drag him down towards the byline for a quick drink break. They do something silly. My advice to someone that's doing that is, if you run backwards towards your goal and then readjust the angle and then attack the opponent, you'll stop letting the balls in behind as easy. Does that make sense? So then, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. I do want to thank you all very much for watching. Let me know what sort of videos you want to see in this series in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to provide them for you. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for watching. I'll get my words right, shall I? I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.